Somewhere, deep in the dark Spanish countryside, lurks a force so evil, so malicious. Oh wait, oh man, that's just a completely overdramatic introduction. Hey, this is the Air of Carthage, gonna bring you another Napoleon Total War video. Here's some of these new Spanish troops that came in the Peninsular Campaign expansion for Napoleon Total War. These are Tiradores de Cantabria. So these are gonna be Cantabrian Tiradores or skirmishers. These troops are actually pretty good. Some of the guerrilla troops, and that was the main addition, was of course the new campaign, and then for Spain they added a lot of guerrilla troops. And the cool thing is when you're going to start a fight, you can place guerrilla troops anywhere on the map, so long as they're not within range of the enemy troops from the start, and within so far the general, I think it's something like that. So what do I expect to accomplish with these guerrilla troops? Well, as far as heavy damage, no. And here's another unit I have. These are Cazadores de Catalunya. So anyway, here's my Cazadores. Do I expect to accomplish much with these troops? No, I do not. What I do expect to do is to throw my opponent off balance. And as you can see, my opponent was going to hill camp, or at least it looks like it. Maybe he wasn't. But in any case, now he has to charge in his cavalry. Let's get like a little above shot of the cavalry running through here. And he's going to charge his cavalry into the woods. Oh, whoops. And here they're going to fight my Cazadores. Now, granted, my Cazadores are going to get their butts whipped, but all of this stuff kind of takes my opponent off station and can cause general confusion in the placement of his army. And so now, while he's focusing on my guerrilla troops, I can march forward with little interruption. And speaking of my army marching forward, let's take a look at what I've brought. Yeah, if I remember right, I have 2 units of Walloon Guards, 6 units of Fusiliers. I have 2 units of 2 experienced Chevron upgraded 6-pound horse artillery. And here they are. They have 4 cannons in each troop. Here's some light infantry that I've brought. I brought 3 units of light infantry. And altogether my skirmishing troops will be 5 units. My cavalry is made up of 2 dragoons and 2 hussars, I believe, or no, lancers. The Spanish troops now have lancers. So I have 2 lancer cav and 2 dragoons. Alright, so now the battle is ensuing. You can see that some of my guerrilla troops are routing. That would be these Cazadores here. But they're going to come back from the into the fight. There's 42 of them left. And again, remember I told you that the purpose of this maneuvering was to lure my opponent out of position. That's the whole purpose of skirmishers in this period of warfare anyway. And so what's going to happen is my Cazadores are going to come back from routing. They've already done so. And now I'm going to start firing pot shots at his dragoons. And this is going to annoy my... Check out that guy. He got checked off his horse when he got shot. That's pretty cool. Anyway, now my troops are going to begin opening fire on the British troops. And I'm going to get them to charge into my men. So you can hear the cries of battle now, and once again my opponent thinks that his British cavalry is going to bravely charge down my Cazadores, but I have laid a trap. I ran my artillery and my Cazadores out ahead, but it was really a trap, and here comes my lancers, or lanceros, because I'm playing as Spain. And here you can see me tossing a goodly number of my own men. That was pretty nice of me to kill a lot of my own men, but oh well. So my lancers have crashed into these British dragoons and caused a good deal of damage. And I'm also going to run up my heavier cavalry, which is another unit of dragoons. Here they come down this lane right here. Now I've turned the music down just for the sake of being able to hear me better. So you can see my lancers are making short work of these dragoons. And because my opponent has gotten drawn into this combat, he has brought more troops in, another unit of dragoons that's also getting whipped on. And also I have infantry nearby that's going to support. So pretty soon my opponent starts to run away here. And to be honest, that's probably a good move for him, because you can see, well, I said my opponent starts to run away. I'm getting out of chronological order here. First, I start to run away because my opponent brings in 2 more units of dragoons. But like I said, I have infantry to support, so I quickly form into squares and try and lure him across my squares. So my infantry and squares are going to get a decent number of kills here. And my opponent realizes this, and he quickly charges his men out. But are we going to let him go so easy? No, we are not. So here comes my cavalry back again. We're going to charge back down at the British cavalry and kill them from behind as they're running. Because you have to remember that my 2 units of cavalry on this side are only half of my cavalry, and my opponent at this point has all of his cavalry into this engagement. So if I can finish off his cavalry, then he will be at a disadvantage due to a lack of mobility on the battlefield. Now here I chased him, and now he's turned around chasing me in return. And so what am I going to do? Well, of course, the boldest and the first thing that you should always do in battle: run away. No, I'm just kidding, that's pretty poor advice. But in any case, in this case, running away is a good thing. Why? Well, because my squares are still back here, waiting to get some nice shots at these British dragoons. And sure enough, my opponent follows me far enough, and then his general was in one of those dragoon units, and his general was killed. Or no. I said his general was in one of those dragoon units. Sorry, my bad. His general was right here in this general staff, which got hit by one of my cannonballs, and believe it or not, I normally do target the enemy general. In this case, I was actually targeting this unit of 6-pound horse artillery, to which I've done very little damage, but a stray cannonball got a lucky hit and killed 8 people out of my opponent's general's bodyguard, and gave me a nice little advantage there from the very beginning. So you can see the remnants of the British cavalry is now routing, and so my opponent now is kind of at a loss for what to do. My little guerrilla attack and my luring of his cavalry has led him at a disadvantage, so you can see that he's going to go ahead and fortify this hill position. Now I am going to go ahead and fast forward to the next sequence in this battle. As far as the artillery fight goes, I'm pretty content with the way things are heading. He's neither causing much damage to me with his artillery, nor am I causing much damage to him, or to his artillery I should say. I am causing a degree of damage, or at least I will be here in a moment, to these line infantry troops here. I'm setting up a flanking position with my horse artillery. There comes my first shot right there. You can see that I killed 5 of his line infantry. So I'm rather content to continue this artillery duel, but my opponent is not, realizing that I'm getting some decent shots in on him. So he has 3 units of these Highland Foot. I believe they're all 3 Highland Foot. Yes, they are. And he's also got this unit of rifles. And his rifles do outrange any of my skirmish units. And I think their reload and accuracy rate is also better. And he's marching up this hill in an attempt to put some pressure on my flank. And I think that's a pretty good move by my opponent. However, I'm going to have to counterattack. And you would think that the first thing I would do is protect my artillery, but I foolishly forget about it, and we'll see what happens to these men. Here's my Lanceros. I love Lancer cavalry in both Empire Total War and Napoleon Total War. They're extremely handy. I find them to be the best type of cavalry to use in conjunction with either other light cavalry or heavy cavalry. Lancer cavalry are not good in a melee. You should not leave them in an extended melee unless they're heavily favored to win in that position. So let's take a look at the above view. The British troops are here in the forest. His rifles are actually just shooting into the ground at the moment. Let's fast forward a little bit and get into the action here. You can see the artillery barrage continuing. And before we get too much into the action up here, I'm just pulling my Lancers out here in order to try and make a rear strike on his troops when they're not watching. And let's take a look up here on top of the hill. My cavalry that successfully defeated his, I snuck around the rear of the enemy's position, hoping to catch him off guard and destroy this howitzer. But my opponent notices at the last minute that I'm on the way in, and because I have a cavalry supremacy, I'm just going to go all out towards this artillery and try and take it down. Because if I can take it down, it'll give me even more advantage. So if I lose my cavalry, so be it. And I figured this Lancer charge would be enough to knock them out. But unfortunately, most of these artillerymen survived, which was rather unfortunate. And then my dragoons got caught head-on into these this unit of British foot. And they do cause a goodly deal of damage because of the downhill charge and him not being in square, but they are going to rout. So there you can see my my little rear attack that failed miserably. Well, I say failed miserably. I did cause a good amount of damage to this unit here. I caused about 25 casualties, 26 to be exact. Let's go take a look back at the hill and see what's happening.